All right, welcome to another episode of the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast, episode 66 here. We've made it, gentlemen, all the way there. We're doing this on a Friday night, a little different than we usually do, but we're going to get it out tomorrow. We're going to do some other podcast stuff later in the week, be on some different shows. So we thought it'd be a good time to get it out tomorrow morning, kind of start it, maybe just see what happens with the viewership at that point as well. Case, Tyler, what's going on, guys? How we doing?
It's Friday. It's a good day, man. It's Friday.
I'm still drinking coffee at night too, just to fight it out.
I'm right there with you.
It's a grip on your addiction.
It's like when I do the podcast, I automatically have to pour a cup of coffee now. It's to that point, right? It's just second nature at that point. If I see we're doing a podcast, I have a big fat cup in front of my face most of the time.
You need that big upper.
That was funny. Tyler, what are you up to this week?
Not
a ton, man.
I'm excited to watch Spider-Man. I want to go out and see that at some point this week.
Yeah. What was the guy you were texting, or we were kind of in our group text, I guess on Twitter last night or whatever, he was saying he went and saw it, and you posed the question, I guess, could it be the best superhero movie out of all the, like, kind of, I guess you say those Marvel movies? It's pretty high praise there. There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah. You know who just from the press, Zendaya? That girl is going to be a superstar. There's something about her that just
Who?
hits. The girl in the movie, Zendaya. I don't know her name right now.
Spider-Man's girlfriend?
5 years, yeah. In 5 years from now, she's going to be one of the biggest actresses in the world.
Sound like you have a crush on this.
No, not at all. She's like 18. I don't know how old she is. She does interviews. You just have to listen. She's interesting. I don't know. It's not the same old BS that actresses give you.
You were saying, I heard you about. I think you said also that you're trying to watch some more of the movies. Have you not watched many of the Marvel movies before?
No, I've watched Guardians of the Galaxy, those ones. I've watched the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and then I've watched the Batman with Christopher Nolan, but those aren't Marvel.
I was talking to a guy.
First Captain America, and then I was supposed to watch Captain Marvel with some girl, and it was terrible the first 20 minutes, and I just was like, oh gosh, it's gonna be tough to get through.
My dad loves those Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. He's to that day. He still loves it. Case, what's your favorite Marvel one? I always forget. Is it Guardians of the Galaxy too?
I've never even seen Guardians of the Galaxy. Look terrible. But,
they're great. They're so funny.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, I like Captain America, the original with Tommy Lee Jones, and Chris Evans. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, I always like the Iron Man ones for sure. So I saw that. That's kind of on my list too. I'm like, should I take Derek too? It's probably a little too violent for a 9-year-old, huh? That was Derek's birthday this week as well. On Wednesday, right? I'm gonna shout out my son. 9. I measured him 4 feet 7 inches. Now he's tall. He's getting a little tall up there. So happy birthday, Derek. A little belated shout out here on the podcast as well.
Missed his birthday. What a bad uncle.
Don't you have a brother or mom, somebody with a December birthday too?
Yeah, today is my brother Ryan's birthday, and the 14th is Kyle, my other brother's birthday. So I'm busy, and then my mom's is the 28th. I'm busy with birthdays. Yes.
Well, Casey, then we need to say happy birthday, right? Happy birthday, Ryan, a supporter of the podcast. Always has nice things to say. Sharks are struggling a little bit, but that's all right. We'll get back on I think give a little Sharks talk there for a second.
Happy birthday to all the McGurks out there, and tough loss for the Sharks against the Kraken. Can't believe that. How do you lose to the expansion team?
I love that.
Backhouse was on fire.
The defense, they just didn't. The speed backwards, the skating. I'm not impressed. So I did that this week. I was thinking of movies.
Not making them make the first move.
Speaking of make the first move here, I was that's a good what do you call it? Transition here, I guess, Tyler.
Something like that.
My middle school basketball playoffs this week. I had a I thought you guys would find this kind of funny. So to make a long story short, we have really, like heavy old uniforms basically that are just not very good for the kids. And so we got new uniforms, and we got them on like Monday, right? I had a playoff game on Tuesday, and I didn't want to switch them out or anything like that. It was too late. but we were losing at halftime, and I was like, should I go Mighty Ducks 2 here? Uniforms to make it all cheesy and like, because we ended up losing by 1 point, and I was thinking like we were down at halftime, like everybody do the locker room, make a cheesy speech, and then with these new uniforms, we will win. Right? That was the ultimate Coach Bob May moment, and I blew it. I had a chance. I get it right there, Casey.
At least you did better than Coppins Thane. You remembered your jerseys, unlike when they played Drexel. So at least you brought jerseys.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah, you don't want to go with you're wearing pennies in a college game. Shirts. You're going shirts.
That's one hell of a reference, Casey.
Did you guys see that?
Many people mentioned Drexel, Coppins State.
You can get that into a podcast on the West Coast. That's not a bad thing. I also saw a couple other things here. Tigers kind of back. That was surprising to me. He's playing with his son, Charlie, right now. So I was surprised to see him back on the golf course. COVID stuff we'll get into a little bit later here. That's spiking a little bit. And then I thought the Dion #1 recruit here is a little brief news story before we get into our meat and potato NBA and NFL here. I thought Dion getting the #1 recruit to Jackson State there was kind of an interesting. He's just kind of one of those things where you kind of knew it was going to come. I think when he got hired at first too. And why, if you were a good cornerback, why would you not want to go play for him?
I just love how he stole him away from his alma mater from Florida State and brought him to Jackson State. I was like, man, stick it to the man. But no, it's cool to see someone, especially go to an HBCU college.
Yeah.
From what he wrote to say what the reason was and his explanation. You can tell he's a smart kid if that's what he wrote. But yeah, no, it's pretty cool to see someone, go to that. If you're good, you can play. If you're great, you're gonna make the NFL.
What were you saying to that, Tyler?
They'll find the talent. You'll be found if you're gonna. I don't know. He said if he wrote it, like maybe someone else wrote it for him.
Dion seems like a good recruiter too, right? You get him in the room with a good parent and the kid. Seems like he can talk his way into it too. Like that's a skill too. So
yeah, just think of how many people's favorite player was Deion Sanders. Like a lot of people love Deion. He has that charisma.
Primetime. He always had for a reason there. So I thought that was kind of a little bit of an interesting story here. Back to my team real quick. I was going to mention this before I got out of here because that was also funny. In that same game, we had an 8th grader, usually like junior high, unless the students are there, but it's not really like you don't have like a whole lot of students at like our game. So there's a lady, like the game was getting ready to shoot the free throw. And it was probably like a minute left in the game or something. And we're probably down like 2 or something. And he shoots the first free throw. And as he's shooting it, she goes like, "Go Bears!" Which was like the name of the opposite team. And she hadn't said anything the whole game. And he missed it. I mean, I didn't really care that much, but me and my mom would look right at him. We're like, "Come on, lady, where's the sportsmanship?" We literally look across the hall and say that. And I was talking to my dad. My dad's like, "You need to ask the guys on the podcast this." So I wrote it down. Is that fair game? Is it fair game to heckle an 8th grader if you're a parent in the game? Is that fair game at that point?
As a parent, no, that's pretty gross. Get a life, lady. I think it'd be okay with another student, the cop or something, to do something, distract the kid. But a parent to yell out, I've seen it happen before. It's not like the first time that's ever happened. But as a parent, I would never say that.
I think if you're gonna do it, you just go all out, man. Go behind the hoop, get some streamers and balloons, and start smacking them, and just let it be known that you're out.
Get in your underwear, let them know. Let them know who's fine.
Casey, I always tell Dad, I think I would have more respect for the lady if, as soon as he got the ball at the free throw line, she was like, "Oh!"
Get the Cameron crazies and start jumping up.
As he's shooting, it's just so petty when nobody else is doing it throughout the game. So I thought it was funny that mom too got mad at him with me. Come on.
Was it a woman?
Yeah, it was a woman too. Just randomly, next to her kid.
Damn moms.
Go Bears. Go Bears. That's everything. All right.
Well, hey, my nephew's team, who's in your league, didn't even play their playoff game because of too many detentions.
I saw
they
that.
couldn't even field the team.
Well, they had the same record as we had in the playoffs. No win. But in my JV, we did make the championship game, but we lost to Sonoma Country Day. That damn rich school. No, they did. They just had
illegally recruiting.
Two good teams. I found out today randomly that Guy Fieri's kid goes to Windsor High School. Did you know that?
I did not.
I did not. I randomly. I saw. I just got that news. I thought that was shocking. I'm stunned. I still don't believe it.
This has become a gossip podcast with Daisy Keeps about Guy Fieri.
You get to Friday night. You get to Friday night here and start thinking random things.
We're feeling right.
All right. You guys got any kind of random thoughts before we get into our NBA and NFL here? No? Nothing throughout the week here, Tyler. You kept cut any hands off at work?
Spider-Man.
Hey, Spider-Man's
No.
All right, we'll see it. It's worth seeing. We need to see it, people. All right, why don't we take a break right there? We'll be back. I think maybe we'll start with NFL this week. We'll see what you guys want to do here during the break here. We got Urban Meyer. We're going to kind of discuss some top coaching failures. We're going to get into some Bay Area topics. There's about three. I think there's 3 decent games this weekend, so we'll get the guys' takes on those games as well. So, all right, and of course, Tyler's weekly takes on the Niners. All right, we'll be back. All right, we're back here. Second segment here on the Fatboy FadeAway Sports, episode 66, joining December 17th. A week here, gentlemen, before Christmas. Hopefully the presents. I still got to do late shopping if you're anything like me, people. So, anyways, let's get right into the NFL this week, gentlemen. There's a lot of juicy topics this week. A lot of easy topics for us to talk about, but I thought we could be kind of creative with some of them, and we'll get into those in a minute here. But let's just start with kind of the big news of the week here. Urban Meyer gets fired finally from the Jaguars. And to me, the reason it's the big story is because just the lead up was so predictable, but right from the beginning, right from the start of the hire, there was a predictability to it. And the way it played out was almost, I don't know, it just like almost seemed too easy. Like he really made it that, like he really didn't change the narrative at all. He came across as a bad guy in a lot of these reports. And, sometimes I don't always believe that stuff. I think players can be bitter sometimes when when things don't go their way. But when you have this many people and then you have executives too have such similar things, and then you see video evidence. I posted something on Twitter the other day that was a little random with him on a boat during a Big Ten incident where there's somebody in the mirror. It looks like he's, smoking out of a bong or something like that. Like,
that doesn't make him a bad person, though.
Doesn't make him a bad person, but it means he doesn't necessarily put himself in situations to be maybe a top coach leading a program in certain areas. And I think that's the part where people get frustrated with it. So he definitely showed those stripes in this hire.
Yeah.
So that's my initial thoughts on it. Tyler, you did a long time ago. Casey brought this up. That was a good point before we got on here about doing something about Urban Meyer.
There's not much to say. I thought it would be better than this. I thought he could work with this new offense, which has adapted the college game a little more, and he owned the college game with Nick Saban the last 10 years, and it just didn't work out. He couldn't get along with people. He liked lap dances more than being in the film room. And has there been a less urban guy than Urban Meyer? Like, he doesn't get along with anybody who, like, in the NFL, it seems like no one has backed him except for Tim Tebow. Outside of that, it's all hate.
Yeah, I mean, he did it to himself, man. I mean, the first hire he had was Chris Doyle, the guy from Iowa that got fired for bullying and making racist remarks to black people. I mean, then they fired him the next day because there was too much noise, and then there's so many things that happened throughout the time. Then they got suspended for too much physicality and OTAs, and then they got fined for that. And then as the year went on, Trevor Lawrence, I mean, I don't even think he's playing that good at all. Like, he hasn't shown any growth. And Trevor Lawrence has started to come out more and more, venting his frustration of, just having Brian Dable be the, interim coach. Now he's like, it's nice to actually have stability where someone's the same person all the time, or is even keel. So, I mean, obviously there's more than, Marvin Jones, a 10-year veteran receiver, had to leave the facility and then come back. And then it goes on and on and on.
The guy, right? Like, none.
it's just, then you hear like, even hearing Paul Feinbaum, he lived for college. That's what he does. He speaks on college. He's like, he's just a bad guy. He's been like this for as long as it's been. I mean, look what happened with Ohio State when he left that program and the assistant coach and all that mess. And then when he left Utah, I mean, every place he's left, he leaves it to shit.
Man, if he was smart and had to do it all over again, he would have just stayed retired after Ohio State, or if he would have just retired after Florida.
In college, he always won at least, so it made it like now with this bad ending and losing, it just ruins everything. Like before, he could go back to his record and go, look.
You think he get hired again though? Like could you think like a Power
maybe
5?
Maybe in a college conference,
like a Power 5 conference?
Maybe one of the lesser SEC teams that wants to make a name. But Bobby Petrino got rehired.
Vanderbilt.
Anybody will hire somebody. Like if they're desperate enough.
That's sad, isn't it? Kind of though.
He shouldn't be hired. He's a douche.
But we all think he's gonna get hurt again.
Yeah, that's the college game.
That's bad. That's bad.
At the NFL level, never again. He has no chance of.
No
give
way.
him 0% chance.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, no chance.
I mean, you can't kick a grown man. Like if that is true, that's. I mean, if you did that to a human being, I mean, imagine just working out.
And if you're that grown man, why did you kick his ass right then and there? Like, my God.
I'm just saying though, like if you did that, if your principal kicked you on the ass and he was just like, "Hey, Daren, get your ass and this and this and this," you just like go on with the rest of your day. It's like, nah, man, you can't do that.
We're fighting at that point. If I'm getting kicked by another human being on purpose, anyways, well, I'm on the ground, especially like that. I mean, that's as cheap as it gets. I don't really care what it means from the Jaguars standpoint. I just think that the hire was so just kind of controversial there. So let's get into like our top failure like a draft here kind of thing. Like what kind of name a guy we kind of think it could be. We could stay in the NFL if you want, but we go to other sports. Maybe just somebody that was just such a bad hire. Tyler, you want to go first with maybe just a really bad hire out there?
Yeah, Cam Cameron. He had 1 year in Miami and 1 in 15. He had one other head coaching experience like 10 years before in Arkansas, and like 5 and 12. And publicity wise, it goes under the radar, but he just never won. He was a good offensive coordinator for the Chargers with LT and Rivers and Breeze, but he never got another head coaching gig after that.
My worst hire, then Casey, I'll let you get the snake draft. You get 2 in a row. I'm gonna go Art Shell for the second time for the Raiders. The second time they heard Art Shell, that was rough right there. That offense was as midday as it was. Art did not want to be there. I think Al just asked him for a favor to come in and just give me a name for this team. To me, that was definitely one of. I think he did very good the first time, but the second time that was a no hire from the very beginning, and it did not work out. So
I have a feeling that's not going to be the last Raider name.
No, it should not be. Go ahead.
Mine, I'm taking Marty Morningway from Detroit. He started the year 0-12. Started the year 0-12. His quarterback in one game with the best name I've heard, Stoney Case, threw 7 interceptions in one game, which I didn't even know was possible. 7 interceptions. And then he's known for the infamous in overtime when they flipped the coin, and this is when it was sudden death. He deferred when they won the coin toss to play defense.
Oh my gosh.
One of the dumbest things. And then
yes, I remember that because of the wind.
Yeah, because of the wind. And he went 5-27, was responsible for drafting Joey Harrington, and we all know how that experience went. So it was just a god-awful time. And then if we're doing the snake draft, I'm going to my team, the Raiders. One of my favorite. He didn't really do all that bad. It was just all the turmoil and him and Al Davis, Lane Kiffin. The infamous 76-yard field goal attempt by Sebastian Janikowski in his last game.
The best. 76-yard. It's actually out there, people.
And that was his last game he ever coached.
That's a good one.
And the best part is when he got fired, Al Davis doing the overhead projection of the reasons why he fired him.
It was like Miss Grand Jumpers.
One of the best.
That was not a good one at all. I was thinking like there's a lot of Lions on here, but they're just a bad team. Like football, I was trying to say that football is another higher. The one I feel like you kind of have to have Bobby Petrino, right? He was like there half a season, quit. I'm gonna also throw I'll throw another name in there because I don't think we're gonna.
He left notes in people's lockers like high school or junior high girlfriend.
That's not good at all. And I also think Mike Ditka's on the list with the Saints. That was a weird hire as well. I remember thinking as a kid as well. So, Tyler, who do you got?
Was there a weirder SI cover than Mike Ditka and Ricky Williams?
It was a different one. That was for sure. It was definitely one. Not a great one. I remember for sure.
My first one's Dennis Erickson. I just love the Niners in the 2000s.
Yeah,
past his time, it was terrible. The Niners were god awful. They've been the Raiders were like equally inept at this time. Tried to figure something out.
Not our best time in the Bay Area.
And then my last one is the only coach ever to be choked out in the practice.
PJ,
Big PJ, Carlissimo. He had some successful seasons with Portland, and then he came to the Warriors, and they were god awful. And Latrell said, "I've had enough of you screaming at me," and gave him the old choke job. And
yeah, he was not one of the best coaches there in the world.
And the best part of that was the Warriors put little markings on their shoes supporting Latrell Sprewell when he was suspended. Well,
I didn't know that.
He was on the bench.
They hated him that much. Oh man, that's not a good sign. Casey, you got another one?
My last and final one was Tim Floyd from the Bulls. They were just terrible. Like, I mean, God, that was some bad years for the Bulls after Jordan and Jerry Krause fired Phil Jackson. It was just, I don't know if I can put it all on him, but he definitely didn't do a good job of coaching that damn team. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, those are some rough ones right there for sure. That's not good. Yeah, so I thought that was fun doing some different coaching hires there that we thought were some bad ones over the years, and those were some pretty bad ones right there. There's many other ones out there too if you want to take a look.
I was thinking too, like if it's your own team, if you're like from Detroit or Chicago or wherever, I mean, you've got to remember names, you know, like I'm sure like Memphis, you know, those guys like remember.
Well, Rob Marinelli, wasn't he one of the coaches for the Lions? Something like that. He wasn't very good. Like he was not dead over there. He was like 10-38 or something. He didn't have the best record. I remember as a kid, there was like a Jets coach that always get ripped on in like the 90s when they had the bad uniforms. All right, so let's get to after that. We got the draft there. Let's get into some of the games this week, and then we'll jump into our Bay Area question here. But so we got, to me, 3 big games, and then we'll get into the Niners Raiders here. We got Pats Colts, Green Bay, Baltimore, to me, Tennessee, Pittsburgh. If you got, we'll throw out some other ones here in a minute, but out of those games, Tyler, which one to you sounds the most interesting?
What were the 3 again? The Titans, not the first one you said.
I got Pats, Colts, Green Bay, Baltimore.
Pats, Patriots, Colts.
That's the top one.
Yeah, I think that's the one that's most interesting to me. The Colts, I feel like, have the team that could actually, if Wentz doesn't make boneheaded decisions, which he can do at times, and does a lot of times. I think they have like the team that can actually beat the Patriots, especially with Williams being hurt this week and what's going on.
Primetime tomorrow.
Taylor's so good. I think the Colts Patriots is going to be a good game.
It was funny doing that thing last night with that guy and with P. Sharkey put it together where we're able to kind of, Case, you got to jump on one of these times and listen and participate. You'd probably have some good stuff to say. What's it kind of called?
About
what are those things we do? What are they kind of called though? We do. You know, is there a specific
name?
Spaces.
Spaces.
And so anyways, we did that. There was a guy on there named Zach, and he lives in North Carolina now. He said, but he's a Patriots fan. And I mean, it's funny to me, like 2 like my friends growing up, one of them a Titan fan, you know, Shark knows them, and this guy a Patriots fan. We were talking about the Patriots and just it's crazy just how, I mean, 6-0 away from home. They've given up 200 points on defense, which is 34 less than anybody else. And their plus minus is like, I think like 40 points better than anybody else. I mean, I was looking at their numbers. I was like, I guess they are like legitimately a number 1 seed. I don't know. I expect them to beat the Colts tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I expect them to beat the Colts. I mean, the Colts are kind of a weird team. I counted them out early. I'm not that impressed with them. I mean, they're hovering around 500, but I just expect the Patriots. I mean, Carson Wentz is going to throw 2 interceptions. I mean, it's just how the Patriots. That's what they do. So
I'm writing it down.
I've been pretty good on my predictions as of late.
Yeah, they're actually not bad. When you don't say anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
When you don't talk again.
I'm just kidding. So yeah, to me, that's a good game. We get it Saturday night. So that'll be it is a good matchup, especially since it's at Indianapolis. And those two teams have had a good little rivalry, especially when in the early 2000s. So that'll be good to see them together. Green Bay, Baltimore. It'll be interesting to see if Lamar plays. That game gets a little bit better. Case, do you think Baltimore is actually a threat to get to the Super Bowl? Is the AFC that wide open enough? I just don't think Lamar.
I think Baltimore just has too many injuries. I mean, they're missing so many guys. I mean,
they are missing a lot.
They're playing. Don't we do this every year with them?
Yeah, I mean, they're playing really well. I think they're just missing too many key guys.
But if Lamar's good enough, right? He could probably get them. I don't know. That's the concern for me. Like Green Bay. I mean, to me, it's like they're good, but I don't know. We'll see. If they get the number 1 seed, they get the home field advantage. Didn't really help them all that well last year, but we'll see. So they got that game, and then Tennessee, Pittsburgh. I just think it's a big game because Pittsburgh's 6-6 and 1, and for them to have a chance to get back into it, I think they have to win this game. And so to me, that's why I have it as a really big game, because I think Pittsburgh is one of those teams that still can, like, they shouldn't be, but they'll get into the 7th seed, so, or could. So I have that as kind of the other big game. And Tennessee could stay with the Chiefs at 10-4 if they win, and they could like really keep pushing them for the number 1 seed. So those are the games I got. Is there another one that jumps out to you, or you guys got any?
Well, can we go back to the Ravens?
About those games as well.
You trust Lamar to make a throw, though? Like, I just don't trust it. You have to do that in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Every year he's asked to do it, and he always throws a big pick. Until he's proven otherwise, I just won't believe in that team.
Well, that's always the question. That's why I always ask that to people. It's like, do you believe in him? Because if you don't believe in him to do it, then you can't ever pick them. And I think it's always funny. People like always lean back on like, well, we just can't trust we always got to trust Tom and Bill. And obviously we've been proven most years. Yeah, you should pick us. It's hard not to, because we've all looked like idiots. Like I always like the old takes of like, I remember like Rob Parker, like 2009, Patriots suck, they're done. It's like idiot. And then, you know what I mean? They're like, there's been many other guys that have said stuff like that too.
Max Kellerman.
I mean, we rip on them season to like kind of just season to season here once in a while, but not like calling people done or anything like that. So I think the rest of the games this week are really not that great, in my opinion. I mean, New Orleans, Tampa. The other story really is the COVID part with everything. Like, it kind of seems like teams are getting delayed. Like, what do we got games on like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week or next week or something like that?
I know the Raiders game got moved from Saturday to Monday.
You know what time they play Monday? Yeah, I didn't even. Let's see. Oh, 2 p.m.
It's a double header. I know that.
Yeah, I don't have that. It's on the NFL Network.
I mean, the Browns had 24 guys like positive, and then 12 were starters. So that's. I don't even see how you could play. I mean, I guess. I mean, that's the only time I've ever seen the NFL like really like say like we're not going to play.
Yeah,
I mean, they did it last year a couple of times.
Did not play a game. They postponed the game.
They postponed the Steelers or Ravens.
But they played it.
They played it. Yeah, they played it.
They didn't actually cancel a game officially.
No.
The weird one to me was like when they had the Broncos quarterback. Remember, I was like, well, why did you move that game?
Yeah, the Browns are about to have Nick Mullins play against the Raiders. You know, that's the first time they played.
Casey,
I still think the Raiders would still lose 24-10.
All right, let's go there, Case. Let's talk about it. The Raiders lose. You know, me and you, we've kind of been at each other's side giving jabs all year. I like some things this year a little bit about the Raiders that I didn't like, that I saw. They actually have a linebacker this year. I saw a few other things. Max Crosby's good, but everything else pretty much is the same. They lose big games. They don't know how to win. They, like we said last week, 1-3 against the NFC East. I mean, come on, that's just not good enough. Carr, is it finally time? Or have you come around, my friend? Is it over with? The love of
I'm done. I can't do it anymore. But
he's the rose pet.
I think a big loss was Ruggs with the deep threat. I know you were saying blah blah wasn't, but I mean they've gone through a lot of crap this year. But I just can't watch. It's too pedestrian. I mean, I told you guys last week they're going to lose 42-17. I mean, I could already see the writing on the wall before the game. And for everybody that's saying Ngakoue and going on the middle of the field, it's not a big deal, man. People do it all the time. It's just because they got their ass whipped, everyone made a big deal out of it. If they won the game, they would have been like, oh, that's how you get your team fired up. It's all 2020 like hindsight. So
it doesn't help you get your ass kicked, like you said. That's
yeah. I mean, if you lose, you're gonna get criticized. If you win, you're gonna get props. You know, that's just how it goes. But with Derek Carr regarding him, it's hard, man. I've been one of his biggest supporters, but I just can't do it. You know, I'm tired of just being a mediocre team around 500.
Mariota time? Is Mariota gonna bring you to the
I might see a little Mariota action.
I mean, if we're gonna lose, might as well just play Mariota, I guess. I mean,
why not? He's at least a decent. I mean, he was a Heisman winner. Give him a second.
But I mean, really, in reality, I don't think it's Derek Carr's fault. They just don't have playmakers. You know, they lost their best deep threat. Waller's been out the last few games. I mean, Hunter Renfro's your leading wide receiver. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but you know, he's not a take the top off superstar type of player. So
I just want them. We just need some new blood. I mean, I just want them to draft somebody, and they need somebody. They just need some new blood in there. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo.
Back to the Ngakoue thing. You can't support it. You're the Raiders, and he played for the Jaguars before that. It's not like he's been a big winner in his career. He went to one. He had one successful career season in his whole career. It's not like, oh, this is the guy who's been there. He's going to show us how to go to the promised land. Well, it's not a good look. Especially when you lose a better team.
I think it got way blown out of proportion. I mean, if the Chiefs needed extra motivation because of that, and you made the Super Bowl last 2 years, then you got bigger issues.
I mean, they beat the Chargers the next day, so their issues are fine.
So what do you think?
The Raiders thing is more than a Chiefs thing. It's just a stupid thing to do.
Are the Raiders out of it then, Case?
I mean, technically no, but I just don't see them pulling off 4 in a row.
The Broncos are out of it.
I mean, I think they still play the Chargers, the Browns, and then the Colts. I mean, I forget the other one, but
the Bills are still in 7th place at 7-6. They're technically one game behind them. With probably they have some tiebreakers. I don't see it. The Steelers are still ahead of them either. The way they're playing too. The AFC is weird. I mean, the NFC, you look at the NFC standings, you're like, oh, they're way better. But then you get past the Niners, and you're like, oh man, that's a lot of crap that's fighting for number 7. Like the AFC, it feels like you're like the Bills, the Browns, the Bengals. Like, yeah, there's at least some you got some good quarterbacks there. Or outside maybe Baker, we could go there either way with those. But they got some intriguing teams there. I don't know. So everybody says the NFC's better, but like, are they really? I mean, the Chiefs, Patriots, Titans, Ravens. I mean, I guess none of us would say the Ravens go to the Super Bowl. Tyler obviously has the Chargers that can make in that NFC. I mean, was it Green Bay, Tampa? And, do you guys really actually think Arizona, Dallas? Like this guy on that thing I was saying last night with Tyler, that space, he actually made a point when we were talking about the NFC. He kind of like called in actually, or however the heck you do it. And he was like, don't forget about the Rams, guys. I think it's because of Stafford. People just don't bank on the Rams.
I think the NFC is better than the AFC at this point. Like, it's more top heavy.
Yeah. It's just you get to that 7 and you're like, my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. The 7 seed and got off. That's almost a bye week as far as that goes. The AFC is more deep, but the top of the AFC is the Patriots, the Titans, like Tannehill and Mac Jones. That's not really like very scary.
So, yeah, I agree. I mean, the NFC, you got Hall of Famers at that position at quarterback. You got Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. I mean, I'm trusting those two over Mac Jones and Tannehill 100 times out of 100 times. It's no question. But I mean,
hey, can I play a little game with you? Can we eliminate some teams here? Are the Bears are technically in? Are they out at this point? They're 4-9. Okay, so Bears are gone. Let's do it. Bears are out. Just to see right now, I want to make the Giants 4-9. It's their technically.
They're out.
Okay, we got them. How about the Seahawks? 5-8. All right, they're out too. Panthers 5-8.
They're out.
They're out. All right, Saints 6-7. Do they still have a chance? I mean, they do. We still got to give them life.
I'm not counting them completely out, but they're fun life support.
The Falcons, the Eagles, the Vikings somehow that feel like they lose every week, or that their coach is going to be fired every game after every game on Twitter.
Man, talk about a guy that Kirk Cousins, man, somehow, some way that guy just manages to stay relevant. Just somehow, some way. He's not that.
Who would be a quarterback like that from the early 2000s that always just had a job for a long time? It's Brad Johnson to me, but he was more of a backup, so it doesn't count. He didn't play long enough.
Chandler from the Falcons.
No, he started off early. I don't remember him starting. I was trying to think of somebody that was so bad, like not that great at all, like Cousins, as mediocre as him, but just had I was thinking maybe like Gerback for a while, but he didn't start long enough either.
No, he didn't start like up to the Chiefs. I don't know.
There's got to be somebody out there that was 500.
I mean, but if you look at Cousins' stats, once again, they're not terrible. They're starting stats. They're better than most starters, actually. But he's not a starter. He's not that good.
Tyler's boy, Rob Johnson.
Fruit with a headband. I'll never forget Bills for. I stopped being a Bills fan after we started Rob Johnson over Flutie.
It was not a good decision there. That was one we still don't like there. All right, those are my NFL. Tyler, you got to get your take on the Niners real quick. They beat the Bengals last week in overtime, almost blew it. This week they play the Falcons and the Titans on Thursday night. Are you still feeling they're coming here? They getting a little right now. They match up against what? Who would they play? Tampa?
The Cowboys, right?
Cowboys, yeah. No, they would play Arizona.
I want to applaud Jimmy Garoppolo for completing his biggest pass ever outside the numbers in overtime to Jawan Jennings and the Big Ten Live. The Niners are good, except their quarterback is limited. Like it's never his fault they lose. I mean, I guess it is because he's not good enough. But if the rest of the team plays good, he'll play good enough to win. If the rest of the team doesn't play good, they'll lose.
Is it weird? To me, it seems like it'd be weird being a fan of this team because it's like
that's very frustrating.
You really
it's
can't.
Like a roller coaster.
It's like you got one leg in the relationship and one leg out of the relationship. You're not quite in there.
I think they have one of the best rosters if Trey Lance is good or Jimmy gets better.
How do you root for the team? Is it kind of weird? Or you're like, who cares? They win within, great. But because if they won the Super Bowl, how is he not your quarterback next year?
Exactly. And I could see them going on a huge run, like in the playoffs. They have that good of a roster outside the quarterback.
Just won't be a run outside the
roster. That's as good as Tennessee.
That'll be an interesting game. Tennessee.
I can't wait to talk about it with P-Sharp.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to get your takes on that one with him. So those are kind of the standings there, the games this week, Case. We'll see. The Raiders will probably win this week, surprise us, beat the Browns, and we'll be talking next week. Yeah, we like them. They're right back. They're back in it. The Bills will probably do us a favor and lose as well. They'll be tied there, and then we'll get our hopes up and they lose again in the next week. All right, so that's NFL this week. When we take a break there, we'll be back with the NBA. We're going to get into a Bay Area specific question. We'll talk about Curry a little bit here in the record. Daren, is he the real MVP? We'll also get into that discussion as well. We're going to get the guys' take on that, and we'll talk holiday weight with Zion. See if we can help him with his diet. See what these guys do to stay fit. See if we can give him some tips. All right, we'll be back. All right, we're back here on the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. Third segment here, gentlemen. The last one, NBA part of the podcast. We kind of mixed it up. Did NFL first there. There was just too much good stuff there in the NFL this week, especially with Urban making it easy there, putting it on a tee for us. So we had to go there. All right, so let's start NBA. Let's get Curry's three-point record. We've talked about it the last few weeks, maybe more now, last 3 weeks, kind of leading up to it. He kind of admitted that maybe he shouldn't have mentioned that he could have made 16 threes in a game. Got it, maybe added a little pressure on him for a little earlier than it needed to be. But either way, he gets the record in Madison Square Garden. Perfect. Not in Indiana. Just somehow falls perfectly in New York. Just knew exactly how many to make over the last 5 days to make it happen. So he gets in New York on TNT, of course, and with Reggie Miller, Ray Allen in the building, which was pretty cool. obviously will go down as the greatest shooter ever. I guess my question is, you guys can give me your thoughts on it, but I know we've talked about it, him as a shooter enough, but is that a significant record? Is the record itself? I felt like, they did it enough to stop the game and have a ceremony during the game there. So obviously the NBA thought it was significant enough. What's kind of your thoughts on it? And just kind of like, is it like one of those records, like a baseball record, I guess, like a home run record? Either one of you, Tyler.
They treated it like it. Is it?
They did.
I mean, I guess it is. It's probably one of the top 3 categories in the sport right now, outside of points and like rebounds and assists, or probably the 4th most important category outside those 4. So yeah, I guess it's there. It seemed insignificant because how easily he was going to pass it, and there was no like drama behind it. You knew it was going to happen, and it's going to be passed by like 2,000 3-pointers. So for that point, it seems not as significant, but I don't think anyone's going to break it for a while. Anyone actively playing right now, so it's just what it is. I think they should have stopped the game and given him these props and whatnot.
Oh, he got his props, all right.
I thought it was well done. I thought it was, deserving. I think, like I said before, I did predict it was going to happen in Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. I just had a feeling, basketball gods, things like that just work out for a reason. But yeah, no, to the record, man, 2,974 threes, nothing to sneeze at, man. I mean, did it in like 511 less games than Ray Allen. So, I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at either. He's probably close to 5,000.
A record people remember forever, though, Case. Like that, I guess that's kind of my point with that record.
I think it will be, because I think he'll get close to 5,000 threes. So I think which is insane. But the next person that's going to break it isn't going to be in the league right now.
He's not alive.
Is not alive right now. And I think why it was so celebrated too is because of the person Steph Curry is, how much he's brought to the game, elevating the 3-point shot to what it is now. And
yeah, for sure.
Being a 3-time champion, a 2-time All-Star MVP, one unanimous, the first ever. So I think a lot of that had to do with the celebration. And Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, 2 of the clutchest 3-point shooters that there are. A lot of people question Steph's clutchness, but you can't question who the greatest shooter is of all time. It's him, hands down. Easily.
Come on, Skip Bayless. He's clutch. How dare you always make fun of Steph Curry.
Well, yeah. But no, for real though, I think it was deserved. I really do.
Yeah. No, that's good. I thought it was a significant record. I'm just like, I always kind of look at records. Like, what are the numbers I remember? I don't, that number, like Ray Allen's number never jumped out to me or something like that. There's certain game numbers I feel like that usually matter more in the NBA than almost career numbers. Like Will Chamberlain's 100, Jordan's like 55, or in New York. There's just certain numbers that they always seem to be more game related or series related, opposed to I don't know the scoring record number by chance. So I'm curious how the 3-point record going forward is just held up by history. But obviously, by the way the NBA celebrated, it was a big deal. It made me think about the Bay Area here and like how I posed this question to the guys last night too, is we were fortunate enough to see like 3 significant records in the Bay Area. Barry Bonds' home run record, Jerry Rice touchdown record, and Steph Curry's 3-point record. Which one of those do you think is more breakable, or like which one do you think was like maybe untouchable, that more so?
Most untouchable?
Either way, both ways. Like most untouchable, one that's maybe more breakable.
Go ahead, Casey.
I think it's. I don't know if I maybe didn't hear you correct, but I don't know if you threw Jerry Rice in there.
I did, yeah.
Okay, I just don't think anyone's ever going to come close to his receiving yards. I'm
talking about his touchdown record. Like
the 197 and 206 total, I believe, or 203.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, you think that's the most unbreakable?
He
did that not in a passing era. That's just so insane. That record is.
When he was 40, he was putting up primetime like T.O., Calvin Johnson, Randy Moss.
Tyler, which one do you think is more?
I think Barry Bonds is the most unbreakable.
Is it kind of crazy that the Bay Area had those records, like those type of history? You know, they got Curry's record. And that's kind of cool that the Bay Area has been able to see all those records for the most part.
And you're forgetting one record that I think will never, ever, ever be broken or come close is Ricky Henderson's 130 stolen bases in a year.
Yeah, and career-wise.
Yeah, but 130 in a year, I just don't think someone's stealing 130 bases.
No
Especially
way.
the way the game's played. Yeah.
There's no chance anyone's breaking it. Nobody cares enough to even try them. Like that, no one even wants to even attempt 130 stolen bases in a year, let alone steal.
That would be impressed if somebody actually did 130 attempts. That would actually be very impressive. You're right, Case.
If someone attempted 80, I'd be impressed.
And Ricky stole over 100 bases 3 times. It's not like you just, that's a lot. I think that's the most unbreakable. You kind of left that one out from Bay Area.
All right, yeah, that's a good add one there on that one. So who would be our Bay Area Mount Rushmore athletes? Like, maybe we don't have to add Willie Mays in there for a while. We know he's in there. He was more New York, but we can do more like since the
more New York.
No, but all right, because he didn't win.
He played like 3 years in New York. He won a championship in New York, but he played 3 years.
Well, I need more, maybe somebody a little bit more. You can add Willie Mays in there if you want, but also maybe if you got some guys that are from.
I'm not adding Willie Mays.
40 years. So.
I have the 3 guys you mentioned, and then I'll add Montana for being like the most winningest player. And
who are the 3 guys I mentioned?
Curry, Bonds, and Rice.
So you got them plus Montana. So 2 Niners on there, and then
Giant in the way.
Taste. You got Mount Rushmore there.
I got it's Jerry Rice, Ricky Henderson, Steph Curry, and gosh, I'm blanking on the 4th one. I just had
Montana.
No, I have Barry Bonds, Ricky Henderson, Jerry Rice, and I don't know what.
And Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I got your list there. I don't have Montana on there either. I have Henderson, Bonds, Curry, and Rice as well. I think I just can't. I mean, Montana's the only one to me that I also can push it. That can push them out. Maybe another Niner probably on that list too. That 1-4, but to me, it can't be anybody else than Montana. Baseball wise, if we went later, we definitely Willie Mays would, like you said, would be on there. So. Anyways, I think that the Bay Area has had some good history records there. And I thought that was interesting. With Curry breaking that record, made me think of some of the other Bay Area records that we've held. If I forgot some, comment please below. Let me know. Like Casey added the Henderson, that was a good one. All right.
One of the things I was gonna say tomorrow will be, I think, the 27th year. I think he did it in Rice. Man, do you guys remember that Monday Night Football game he had against Minnesota? It was December 18th, 95. It was insane.
No.
He had, it was
December 18th, 95.
Well, tomorrow's December 18th, so
Yeah,
I was only 8 years old.
but it was 14 receptions for 289 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's what I say about Rice. Is like I said, not really even a passing era. And he was. I mean, they were more the passing team, but it's not like Montana was throwing 50 times a game or something like that. So it's just crazy how he was able to like take everything to the house and just rack up those yards.
His Super Bowl receiving yards and touchdowns is better than any quarterback other than Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, like as far as stats.
Yeah, that's stupid. Yeah, Rice is just ridiculous. Him, Bonds, and Curry are just going to be. We're so lucky to see him at Henderson in there as well. All right, look, I got some other NBA stuff here too. Like we're talking about Curry, but Durant to me, in some ways, could be the real MVP. I mean, his numbers he's putting up are really good this year. They're like, and they're winning a lot of games, and it's not affecting. He's averaging almost 30, I think. He's like real close to it.
29.7.
Yeah, so he's getting the rebounds. He's making plays for his team. His team has a ton of injuries. They're in first place still. I think they were in first place still. They were as of yesterday. Let me check. Yeah, they got a 3-game lead over the Bulls, who don't even have a team anymore. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think of Durant? Do you think he's the real MVP, or do you think Curry's just kind of getting the hype because of the record right now and the way the Warriors kind of got off to a hot start?
As much as I love Curry, and they're amazing, and he's been amazing. I mean, Kevin Durant, man, he's been unreal. I mean, he had a supersized triple-double. I mean, they were playing with 8 guys against the Raptors. He played 48 out of the 53 minutes. I mean, they only had 8 players, and they still beat the Raptors. He's just putting on a show. James Harden looks like himself every other 4 or 5 games. Kyrie hasn't been there all year. Joe Harris has been hurt. I mean, to me, he's just, whenever I watch him, he can get his shot off anytime he wants. And, I mean, he's shooting over 50%. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's automatic.
He's 7 feet tall with a guard-like handle.
Yeah.
To me, he's my MVP so far.
What do you think, T?
Develop that Dirk one-footed, like, fadeaway, like, off the dribble. Dirk didn't have off the dribble, but, like, he's unstoppable inside of 15 feet. And even outside of that, he can come off pick and roll. He can go in the post. He had, like, all the, like I talked about before, he never depended on free throws, like the flopping, like Curry doesn't either, which I appreciate. And that's why those two have flourished so much this season. They didn't have to make an adjustment to the rules. They just play how they want to play, and they're too good. Like, every time Durant shoots, I think it's going in. And
so what do you got? You got him as your MVP there?
I think right now,
I'm the biggest Durant fan anyone can find. I think he's the best player of this generation. Well, LeBron's the best. I just don't like LeBron, but LeBron's the best. And then Durant. And I don't think it's really close after those two. Curry's a little behind them.
the argument for Curry would be more, he just, sometimes you can't always tell, like, I mean, nobody gets defended like Curry. He gets harassed like the whole court. Durant doesn't get that type of stuff. Like, but just
that's because he can make it easier for himself and just get it at the high post.
Because of his height and it's like, yeah, the way he's able to, like, you know, get the spots differently than Curry. But it may, you know, the way they navigate the defense is obviously completely different. But I think Durant's the MVP just early because, I mean, like I said, 38 rebounds, 6 assists, PER of 26. I mean, other than Curry having the better plus minus and the threes, you know, right there. It's gonna be tight down the stretch. I think whoever gets the best record will say a lot.
It's so stupid that we're even having that conversation. That both these guys were on the same team together, and you put them apart, and they're both battling for MVP.
Yeah,
one's on the East Coast, one's on the West. It's just crazy. It's crazy that they used to play together. I mean, they made it look so easy, and we got spoiled just
that
for
was
like
fun.
a 3-year period. Like, it was amazing. Like, it was the best basketball I've ever seen in my life.
The last year wasn't as amazing.
That's the thing. I'll agree with you. Even the last year was amazing.
Well, it was kind of amazing. It seemed like everybody was hurt more than last year. And more
well, yeah, they got hurt though. They all got hurt. So yeah, but they would have won the championship if they stayed healthy. They would have beat the Raptors probably 4-1. It's the best basketball ever, and you can't convince me otherwise.
Yeah, I will disagree about that last year. Yes, they won, but it wasn't as exciting for me other than it was the first 2 years with Durant. All right, a couple other NBA things. If you guys got anything else, I thought the other stuff that was kind of wanted to bring up was my little notes from the week. Doncic and Zion. I feel like little maybe some Weight Watchers. I could go on it too as well. You know, I was thinking about me with my holiday, the holiday season coming in. I mean, they're just a little heavy there. I feel like for carrying a little weight. Their teams are, you know, obviously the Zion can't get on the floor anymore, and you know, he seems like he's not. Yeah, like I said, the media has him gaining 5 to 10 pounds every 8 days. So we'll see what he's up to next week. And then, you know, just overall, Doncic just looks big. He's playing a little slower. Like, it just seems like some of these guys with like Giannis, and I know those are the best players, and like LeBron though, but they got all the tools to maximize, you know, the physical their body and get the best performance out of them. It just seems like those two in particular, Zion may be a little harder because he can't, I guess, put weight on his foot, but I just find that kind of an interesting nugget. Does anybody think about that with Doncic? Maybe, yeah, we talked about Zion a little bit last week.
I mean, I think Doncic will get it figured out because he plays basketball all the time. He's just right now he's got an ankle injury. And he played a lot for his, national team. And so I think maybe it just took him a little bit. And I mean, he's admitted he came in out of shape, but I think he'll get it figured out before Zion does. I think Zion's he's naturally just a big guy. So he's one of those type of body types where it's hard to keep the weight off.
How can you be coming in and out of shape now? Like, you have like trainers, you have like all like, I mean, you can have a chef if you want it easily with all that way. Like that's all I'm saying is you have the resources there. Go ahead, T. You wanted to say something about Doncic?
Yeah, I think that's what separates like the really, really special players from the really, really good players. Like Harden doesn't take care of himself as well, like LeBron or Durant or Curry or those guys.
Yeah.
As far like as a guy who played basketball, probably not at his optimum weight and was a little too big. You don't recover as well. Your feet are killing you after you play a game of that. Like they're even uber athleticism that I can't even imagine. But like I'd come home after a game and my feet would be killing me. Where if I was probably 20 pounds less, they wouldn't hurt as much.
And for the most part, probably even us playing rec ball, I know for me, whenever I played my best, usually my life was usually when I was in the best shape of my life. Not, you know what I mean? Like when my age kind of met, like when I was in good shape, like you obviously play better because your body can do more things. Your skills are, you're maximizing your skills too with that stuff. So it'd be interesting if Doncic can, and Zion, I mean, like they are bigger. I mean, there's like, I feel like they get in shape through basketball, like just playing almost, right? Like that could be a thing too.
I mean, to you speaking about resources, I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying, but some people are not as committed as like what Tyler was saying.
Yeah,
I mean, think
no
about
doubt.
some guys just on the top of my head, like Vin Baker, Antoine Walker, Khalid El-Amin. Khalid El-Amin got hella big when he was like on the Bulls. Like
Steve Veggies, people. Steve Veggies. Come on. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of
You make an
interesting.
excuse because Zion can't play basketball. Get in the pool, do something.
Yeah. I mean, he does look pretty big though. Some of the videos out there.
He looks like Trent Williams.
Well, I like Charles Barkley. It looks like me and Shaq had a baby. I thought that was funny. But it's the other thing from the NBA I saw this week was the crazy. We will never talk about these two teams in one sentence again, but the crazy OKC Pelicans finish with Alexander. Did you see that making this crazy like deep three, leading to the right, and then passes it into Devontae Graham? I think he baked it in, right? Bakes it in from 61 feet out, or maybe even farther. And then Alexander's reaction was just priceless. What do you guys think? You had any heartbreaking moments like that in your life, or one that stayed out to you from I remember Moochie Norris beating the Warriors on a half-court shot one time. I remember the Moochie Norris. That brings back a name.
LeBron's game winner against the Warriors always is a haunt. Like that step back he had, the left going right to left.
Can you think of a half-court one though, like some deep like that to beat a game, win a game, or something like that? Didn't Stanford beat Arizona or something like that?
Tiger Woods went crazy.
Was that a half-court shot, right?
Yeah.
I remember that.
I think it was Gross. No, that was Cal. I don't know.
Weren't they 1 and 2 in that game? I think too. Arizona, Stanford. I think
they're definitely both in the top 10. I don't know.
I think they were in that one. I remember that. That's a good half. Oh, did you guys see the banker from Ron Harper Jr.'s son?
Rutgers.
That was a crazy one. Down one.
Yeah, that was insane.
That was
Remember the Jeremy Lamb heave from half court in Toronto where he like chucked it like his
Oh yeah, that was a good one too. Yes.
My favorite one's a Steph Curry 3 at the end of the third quarter that did end the game against Memphis.
Oh yeah. That was dope.
There's got to be some good college basketball deep ones too. We're probably forgetting as well. We guys chucked it in from pretty deep as well to win a tournament game or something like that. Or
Jenkins Villanova made the game-winning shot.
Yeah, that wasn't from way down like half court there or something like that. Like crazy. But the closest one though, the one that could have been the game changer is
Gordon Hayward.
Gordon almost had it. He came close. Yeah, he didn't have it. So those were my kind of NBA notes for the week. Everything kind of stayed the same from last week in terms of really the standings. The Lakers to me they're getting crushed though tonight as we're speaking. I think they ended up losing to the Timberwolves 110-92, gentlemen. So I was going to come on here yesterday when I took my notes saying, well, I'm looking at the standings. Those Lakers at that 6th seed, they look like they could be making a little push. And then 18-point loss there to the Timberwolves. That makes me not think quite like that anymore.
And what I said last time, I wanted to see
Anthony Edwards.
LA. I want to see Minnesota LA playing game. I told you that. I think they match up well.
let me ask you, who's the most dangerous out of these teams? Like when I look at the standing, like these are teams that are kind of like fluttering, just kind of mediocre. But which one would you just take? Let's put it that way: Clippers, Lakers, Nuggets, Mavericks. Out of those 4 teams, which one are you rolling with to end up with the best record? Maybe not the best in the playoffs, best regular season record.
Is Murray getting healthy at any point?
Probably hopefully towards the end of the year, but you could take either of those teams.
So we're talking about regular season record.
Regular season record.
Not playoffs.
Not playoffs. Just who do you think will finish with a better record there? Who would you take your money? Yeah. They're playing consistent at least a little bit more, like together. That they have an identity.
They seem to have defined roles, and Paul George has just been spectacular, like we said last podcast.
I kind of hopped on the Nuggets so early this year. I think I'm gonna have to stay with the Nuggets. Come on, Jokic. Let's go. Come on, buddy. Let's go. Get them going.
That roster's so bad outside of him, though. It's hard to.
Yeah, it's cool. I like guys on their team. Like I like Will Barton in stretches. I like Aaron Gordon in 5-minute stretches.
You don't like you look at every chance you get.
I said 5 minutes. Case, which team are you taking there?
I'd take probably the Clippers.
Yeah, you Tyler the same there.
I'm worried about this COVID though. I have a feeling it's going to change the whole NBA season.
No, hopefully not.
Really notches up a bit.
What do you guys think about Kyrie coming back and playing in the road games?
And that's what happens when you're desperate for players. And
all the help they can get.
I mean, basically, Kyrie's been wanting to do it from the beginning, right, Tyler?
Yeah, it's funny. The unvaccinated guy is the guy who doesn't have COVID.
I know. All right, we need this guy now, right now. Let's get this guy. Durant's probably in their ear too. Like, come on, man, what are we doing here? Let's get this guy.
Yeah, I don't want to play 48 minutes a game. Steve Nash is admitting to the public, I need to play Durant 48 minutes a game to win. So, yeah, there's a lot of pressure to get him back out.
I mean, how can you not? Why would you not?
And I think it might be to try and get some trade value up on him.
The Nets better win in Game 6 on the road because he won't be available in Game 7. Can you imagine the playoffs?
He takes his vaccination shot in the middle of the series.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta have your booster too. Nope. All right, he's out. I want to throw out our guy Tom Witt, right? We got to give a little Kings update. He's right. They're hanging on. They're in the 10th seed. They would be playing as of right now somehow at 12 and 18. They would be, and they play.
Not very good.
Oh man, and the fact that they got smashed again tonight, I think by the Memphis. The effort level on that team and the injuries are. I know they got some guys hurt, but like I said, they just got too many. The puzzle don't fit with the way they drafted some of their players. I like Fox. I would personally move him for somebody. I just think his value now is greater than what it will be on their team a year or two from now. Yeah, I still think he could be a good player. Just I don't see how his value gets better on the Kings in a year or two from now. If that's what I would do if I was them, because he's their biggest asset. And I wouldn't mind trading Halliburton too if I got something decent in return as well.
Yeah, Halliburton's kind of had a rough year this year.
I mean, if it meant like I got Sabonis and like, I don't know, somebody else in a trade, I mean, I would maybe, or, something like that. And something like that, I would really.
And Sabonis has to be the guy that people should be going after, even more than Ben Simmons. I love Sabonis' game. Yeah, it hasn't translated to Indiana very well, but it could be like a Weber. He has a Weber type game. Yeah,
and it just feels like a good personality for the Kings too. Like, right, kind of an under the radar superstar that could live in Sacramento and stay there.
But he is speaking out about not wanting to be in Indiana, which is kind of worrisome for Sacramento. Well,
Sacramento's a lot better than Indiana, probably. I mean, you're only an hour away from like Lake Tahoe and the Bay Area there, and you're not too far away. But he said, Tom said, there's some beautiful places there. Come on, get out there, visit. You go downtown. They got the railroad.
I'll pass on Sacramento.
I got the back door.
A lot of cow pastures and cows here.
The backdoor bar in Sacramento. I remember me and my Hana went there, and my sister, their boyfriend takes us to that bar. What? Where are we going right now? Excuse me, where are you taking me? Down to dark
alley. Sacramento.
Alley, it's called what? It's down to dark. So, anyways, that's what I got on the NBA really this week. The standings basically, like I said, the same. COVID breaking out. Hopefully, that, like Tyler said, that's not the case. The Cavs continue to shock, 4 seed now. Unbelievable. They're just. I mean,
we'll get into them on later podcasts.
That's the shock. That's the shock of the year. So, guys, anything else NBA wise? Anything else this week you want to get into before we call it a podcast here?
Just get ready for Christmas, man. Should be a good time. Can't wait to.
What's our favorite Christmas movie? I was going to ask that, Keith.
Home Alone, the first one.
Somebody, when I asked that for my PE classes, I say somebody busted out a rare Home Alone 3. I was shocked. So I was offended.
I went to pick up my boy from his brother, his uncle's house, and they were watching Home Alone 3. I was like, the heck, Home Alone 3? And guess who's in that movie? Scarlett Johansson. I was like, my God, I didn't know she got her start on Home Alone 3.
I'm watching that immediately. No, I'm just kidding.
What about you guys?
Tyler, what do you like?
Mine's maybe Bad Santa, probably.
That's Billy Bob. That's a good one.
Billy Bob's hilarious. The little guy's funny. The whole story's Bertie Mac's hilarious.
Yeah. What about you, dude?
To Be Wonderful Life is the best, like literally Christmas story, like where you actually have like a lesson to it. But the one I'm gonna go with is Santa Claus. Santa Claus, Tim Allen, not Polar Express. I know Hannah hates that one with a passion. Yeah. Because of this kid she had to watch one time and they watched that movie like 13 times. But I'm gonna go Santa Claus, Tim Allen. That's the one I like that one.
Jingle all the ways.
That's a good honorable mention. My dad, if you ever bring up Santa Claus to him, he will rip on it so bad.
I know. I don't know why. You told me that one time. I was stunned. He must hate Tim Allen. I guess maybe that's why he doesn't like Timothy.
He must not like Woody. Then he must prefer Buzz Lightyear.
No, Buzz Lightyear. No, you mean he prefers Woody?
Woody, yeah.
Speaking of Woody, did you hear what Case Keenum said about Nick Chubb?
No.
It's kind of an interesting Woody to Chubb.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? It's not. It's what Case Keenum said because he was going to start. They're like, what does it feel like to have your starting running back there? He's like, it's nice to have a full Chubb like behind me. I feel like I have a lot of power now.
Oh, that's well done, Mr. Case Keenum. Well done if you meant to do that there. Did you watch any of the boxing match, Case? Was it, how do you say his name?
Lomachenko?
He dominated that guy when we watched the boxing the other night. He did you watch it too? You said you might have checked it out a little bit too. I thought he worked him.
He was just playing mind games with him. He was asking the corner if he wants this punishment to keep going. He was just abusing him. I mean, the other guy, he was just way off his stance. He kept lunging over and over. There's no power behind his punches. I mean, Lomo is just like rat, tat, tat. Just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Combos like left and right.
It seemed way too easy for him when I was. It just seemed.
The best part was when he told his corner to call the fight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Call the fight.
Like I said, on that note, there's a couple of guys that we want to shout out for their podcast as well. The Real DA, right? That's his podcast. This guy we're talking. He does a lot of boxing podcasts. Case, I really think you should listen to because I feel like you're into boxing a little bit more. I think than Tyler. It sounds like Tyler is starting to like it a little bit more, but you like some of it even more. I
like all competitive things if it's highly competitive.
So this guy I think he has a good podcast that I've listened to it 3 times now, and it was way more about boxing than I would have ever listened to before. But he's got good stuff. We also want to shout out House of Hoops. They had a good podcast last week. I listened to it here at work. And then Let's Be Real podcast with the guys there. We're going to be Tyler with Shark on we can preview night coming up, so that'll be fun to see you on there. Then our I Don't Know Sports will be on there Sunday with him, and I think he usually has those out Monday morning. So just a couple of podcasts. Keep your eye out on those as well. Support them in their journey along with it as well there. So guys, good podcast this week.
About breaking news.
What?
Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, and Iguodala will not be playing against the Raptors.
Because of protocols?
No, because of good reasons. Fake injuries and rest. So you might see a lot of coming Moody again.
I know that the Raptors only have half an attendance, so maybe they don't feel as bad about screwing over the fans. We're only screwing over half the attendance, but
nobody cares about Canada.
No shock there. That is breaking news, Tyler. Thank you for it. That's where we need the whatever that little thing we used to have. We need the breaking news buzzer there with that stuff. So, all right, well, gentlemen, episode 66 in the books there. You got NFL here. Yep, Mary Lou. We got episode, a lot of good number 66 in there here.
I couldn't think of any else. I was thinking of one the whole thing, and I finally thought of one at the end.
Wasn't Wayne Gretzky number 66 on the
99?
99 was he on the Rangers? No, he stayed 99. All right, so that's a wrap there, gentlemen. Good luck with your fantasy football if you got playoffs this week, Tyler, or anything, or getting in there.
I'm going to finish with the most points in the league, and I didn't make the playoffs. Very sad day.
That's rough. Casey, next week somehow we'll probably have life with the Raiders, so we'll be back. We'll be back on the bandwagon next week. There, Brian, he's in town this week, gentlemen. Look out, ladies. He's back, so we'll spend some time with them. Everybody, have a good Christmas out there. Have a good Christmas. Have a good holiday, and enjoy the games out there. See ya. Peace. Thanks for supporting us this year. Later.